How's it going, guys? It's ZCpengu, and I have a deck profile for you today. So let's get to the profile, and I'll do the explaining after I show the cards. So this is for Zoodiac Lightsworn with 3 Thoroughblades, 3 Whiptails, 2 Ramrams, 1 Rapier. That is the Zoodiac lineup. Then we have 3 Raidens, 1 Lila, 2 Orbital Hydralanders. That's gonna be real confusing. That's when the deck gets real confusing. Alright. 4 different kaiju monsters, including Gamma Seal. Let's see here. 1,000 Blades, 1 Trick Clown, and a Fairy Tale Snow. Obviously for the mill. Alright. And for spells, we have 3 Charge of the Light Brigade, 3 Shuffle Reborn, 2 Tankies, only 2 Barrages, even though they're quite affordable right now, 2 Twin Twisters, 1 Slumber, 1 Concealing Light, and a Galaxy Cyclone. And the only traps we're running are 2 Zoodiac combo and a breakthrough skill as the main deck. 40 cards. And for the extra deck, 3 Chakanine, 3 Tiger Mortar, 1 Hammer Kong, 2 Borbos is the Zoodiacs, 1 Tsukuyomi, 1 Dark Rebellion Xyz, 1 Minerva, a Deco Talker, Gaia Saber, and 1 more I forgot. And a Borolo Dragon. 15 cards in the extra deck. The goal of this deck is to get your Zoodiac monsters into the grave as soon as possible, so that you can pretty much upgrade your monster, your Zoodiac Xyz monster, into a stronger form. Especially with Thoroughblade, because Thoroughblade will give you all the attack. Whiptail is the most useful, since it always banishes the monster, no matter what attack it is. And Ram is specifically used for resource management, in case you don't mill the attack booster Zoodiacs. And Rapier pretty much sends any Zoodiac to the grave for that purpose. Which is why I run the Lightsworn engine. For the most part, send the rest of your deck to the graveyard, so that you can activate a bunch of graveyard effects, including not exclusive to Snow, Trick Clown, 1,000 Blades, and even spells and traps that activate in the grave. Zoodiac combos, the Breakthrough skill, the Galaxy Cyclone, the Slumber, and the 3 Shuffle Reborns. Now, something very, very important you should know about is that I max out on the Shuffle Reborns, because I am constantly milling things to the graveyard, especially Zoodiac monsters. As you all know, Zoodiac monsters don't need to have their effects in order to be Xyz summoned into the greater Xyz Zoodiacs, which is the point of that. But more vaguely, is the second effect of Shuffle Reborn, which is, let me read right here. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 card you control. Shuffle it into the deck, then draw 1 card. Also, during the end phase of this turn, banish 1 card from your hand. Now that's a hard once per turn effect. And you want that effect so that you can recur your sources and draw into cards that you will need. Also, another thing you should know about this deck is that it's very synergetic, but like the Lightsworn engine, it's kind of luck based, and you really have to build upon what you have or what's given to you. There's no like set strategy for every time you want to play this deck. There's always something different going on when you're milling things different. When you're milling different kinds of things to the graveyard. I shuffle the deck. Let's see what we get. Alright, so obviously you want to start milling as soon as possible. That's why you start with Charge the Light Brigade. I'll mill 3. 1, 2, 3. And there's your Thorough Blade. That's a lucky mill. Milling any Zoodiac or one of those cards that can be used in the graveyard is good. So we milled Galaxy Cyclone and we milled the Zoodiac Thorough Blade, which is a very good start for us. And since we can use Whiptail as a hand trap, we can hold on to that. We have Rapier. We'll over summon and activate its effect to send one Zoodiac monster to the graveyard. You know what? We will send Ram. That is our resource management. In case our opponent tries to nuke the board or destroy monsters on the field, we have Ram as our contingency to make sure that we can have a play in the next turn. And then we will overlay. Usually starting with Barbo. Next, going into Tiger Mortar. Activate Tiger Mortar's effect to detach and revive Thorough Blade. And once more, XC summoning into Shaka 9. And then detaching from Shaka 9. Oh, whoops, let's go there. Detaching from Shaka 9 to revive Ram. So we're pretty set for now. And as you can see, I have one monster of every kind. It's very easy to take out different kinds of monsters with Zoodiacs. Is one thing I noticed about the Zoodiacs. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different kinds of monsters. So suppose our opponent was about to remove the whole board, or let's just say they didn't have anything. In a sense that in a sense that the monsters will be sent to the graveyard. Let's get into our next draw. Let's just suppose that they managed to get rid of everything. So we have 6 different monster names in the grave. That is the perfect setup for the Orbital Hydralander. Because the Orbital Hydralander reads, it cannot be normal or special summoned. It must be, or it cannot be normal summoned or set. It must be special summoned by having 5 or more monsters in the GY with different names, but yeah, with different names. And that falls perfectly with the Zoodiac lineup. That's what makes Orbital Hydralander mostly live. And it's also the reason why we have a Fairy Tale Snow in this deck. Because let's suppose that you have a bunch of Zoodiac monsters in the grave, but the same name. Sure, you can also use Zoodiac combo, but Fairy Tale Snow will allow you to get rid of those monsters while it's in the graveyard, and then allow you to summon Orbital Hydralander at any time. We also have the Kaijus to get rid of those huge monster threats that the opponent has. Now the second effect of Orbital Hydralander also falls in line in combo with Fairy Tale Snow, because let's read the Hydralander effect. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the GY, destroy 1 card on the field. So it doesn't target, and your opponent has to respond to it before you destroy any card on the field that you choose. Alright, and it says you must have at least 2 monsters in your GY and no monsters with your GY with the same name to activate and to resolve this effect. So let's say I was about to activate its effect while Fairy Tale Snow was in the graveyard. We activate Hydralander's effect to mill 3. 1, 2, 3. And oh, what is this? We milled a Thorough Blade, which is not good in this situation, because then the effect won't resolve to destroy a card, since you have 2 Thorough Blades in the graveyard. But if you happen to have the Snow in the graveyard also, then you're in luck, because you can chain Fairy Tale Snow's effect to Hydralander's activation effect and banish that Thorough Blade, so that Orbital Hydralander's effect can resolve perfectly and destroy a card on the field. So right now we will chain Snow's effect and banish 7 cards from the graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Banished. Fairy Tale Snow will resolve Chainlink 2, and then Chainlink 1 will resolve at Hydralander. Since we still have 3 monsters in the grave, we can now destroy a card on the field. As you can already tell, this deck is it's somewhat situational, especially if you're running Orbital Hydralander. You could be taking that card for other cards, but that's up to you. Or that's in your power. If you decide you think Hydralander is a dumb card and you don't want to run it in the Zoodiac Lightsworn engine. Otherwise, it's a deck that does very strange things at strange times. So you should always be, for this deck, you should always be ready to know what to do, when to do things. And that graveyard effect will, for the most part, be live. So with this hand, we'll start with Raiden. Activated effect, mill 2. We got the Whiptail, very good. Kaiju's not good. You do not want cards that don't want to get milled, obviously. And then we will end turn and mill once more. Thunderblade and the Swords of Concealing Light. Thunderblade is a good mill. Swords is not. We let the opponent do his turn. Suppose that Raiden gets destroyed. Suppose they have a good setup or something. They pass turn, and it's our turn. Into the Rapier. Now, we have 4 monsters. 4 monsters in the grave. That's not enough for Hydralander though. So suppose that the opponent has monsters on the field. We'll start with Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. Or if they have some back row, we can try to juke the backboard and instead start with Shuffle Reborn. That's another good thing about Shuffle Reborn, is that you're going to use your normal summon mostly for your Zoodiacs or for your Lightsworns. And if it gets struck in, or if you get interrupted, you will have the Shuffle Reborn ready to go. Not always. So we're going to start with the Slumber. When you're using Slumber in this case, you want to summon the Kaijus that have the higher attack. So that later, or if you mill Slumber instead of actually having it in your hand, you can just banish it to add another Kaiju, the lower attack Kaiju, from your deck to your hand so that you do not take that much damage. So we'll summon these onto the field. Let's see. 4 monsters. And then we will go for the normal summon, Rapier. Activate her effect. 2 mill. 1 Zoodiac card. We will go for the Thoroughblade. Then we will XC summon. And the good thing about the Zoodiacs also is, as I mentioned before actually, is that they all have different names. There's Hammer Kong, Borbo, and then Tiger Mortar. And you will detach to equip the Thoroughblade. And oh boy, would you look at that. Now you have 5 monsters in the grave with different names. The Hydralander is live. You are able to summon the Hydralander in the moment that you get 5 different monsters with different names. We will XC summon once more. Into Shaka 9. And then we will detach to revive the Whiptail. That way we can equip Whiptail onto Shaka 9 next turn. Now something to note about this deck is that it's not the most consistent deck. As cheap and affordable as it may be, it's not as consistent and you will not get your mills and combos off as much as one would want. We'll start with Raiden and mill 2, and then mill 2 more during the end phase. What do we see here? An issue. Let's say the Raiden gets destroyed the next turn. And now we have 2 names in the graveyard. Very, very bad news bears. Because now Orbital Hydralander will not be live, even if it's in your hand. And there will be no other way to get Raiden out of there, except possibly by milling the fairy tale and banishing the Raiden from the graveyard. Would be the only way that we could get out of this sticky situation in order to summon Hydralander. It's important to note that at some point you may be able to dominate the playing field with your Zoodiacs, and that is a good thing, especially when you have Chakram or Chaka9 on the board. So let's just summon Thoroughblade, activate the effect to discard Ram and draw a card. And then we will overlay it to Hammer Kong, Borbo, Tiger Mortar, and Chaka9. You'll detach Chaka9 to revive Ram. Set Zoodiac combo, then pass turn. If you either start out with the hand of Zoodiacs, or a hand of Lightsworns, or a hand of nothing, but it's probably, if you have a bunch of Zoodiacs in your hand already, it's gonna be better to start with the Zoodiacs rather than the Lightsworn monster. But if you have only like one Zoodiac monster, but one Raiden, you should start out with the Raiden, because you want to get those Zoodiacs into the grave as soon as possible so that you can upgrade your monsters. And let's say right here, suppose that you were able to survive the round with both of your monsters. So just suppose you activate the combo to equip Thoroughblade and possibly bamboozle your opponent. Trick them into attacking the Chaka9 that once had 16 attack, now has 32. It survives. You draw. Oh, there's a Kaiju too for extra contingency in case your opponent is playing like Baguska or something very scary. We can detach from Chaka9 to revive a Zoodiac. And then we can go for the Raiden. Activate its effect to mill 2. Ooh, look at that! And then activate Trickle effect. Revive it by paying 1,000 life points. And the very special magic. You preferably want to keep your Chaka9 with 2 Thoroughblades. It's a very strong monster on the board. But suppose you had an opponent's monster that couldn't be getting over, and we didn't have a Kaiju. So then we, in this instance, can Link Summon into the almighty Orbital Dragon, which can get over many things, and is a very difficult threat on the board, in most cases. I know the Orbital Dragon is very expensive at the moment, so you can always resort to Decode Talker. In the instance that the card is too expensive, then we can go for the Decode Talker instead. It also helps that we can extend into those monsters also. So suppose we want to go for Decode Talker. We will Link Summon these 3 effect monsters for the Decode Talker. And if you wanted, but as you can see, our graveyard is very nice graveyard. You can also extra mill by overlaying 2 level 4s into the Minerva. Just in the instance that you don't have a very good graveyard, you want to go into Minerva to get those graveyard effects going. You'll detach from Minerva to mill 3. Not the best of mills, if I do say so myself. But Minerva will also mill when it's destroyed. So there you have it, guys. Thanks for watching the video, if you even made it this far into the video. Thank you for watching the video, and let me know if you guys want another deck profile or a deck list in the comments below. Thanks for watching.